Every woman has their own fantasy, all right? So it's different for each and every woman, but every woman has their own fantasy that they've imagined, that they've dreamt about, that they've thought about having happen to them since they were maybe younger and they're older now, or they've grown up just always, maybe it was from a book they read or watching 365 DNI or 50 Shades of Grey. Women love to fantasize about certain things that a lot of men feel uncomfortable talking about, and a lot of men, especially the men that they're with, they won't share these things with him because they understand the man that they're with, he can't handle it. He can't understand and accept a woman's true fantasies and her true nature. But once you have this understanding with the red pill awareness, and you understand women are just women, it's not something to be judged, not something good or bad, it's just women are women, you realize that women start to open up more and more to you. Now, yes, occasionally women will still lie to you, and occasionally they'll not tell you the full truth. But what I've realized is, if you enter a conversation with a woman, you make her feel comfortable, and you get her maybe just at your place or somewhere where it's more private, and you give her that feeling comfortability, she will open up more and more about herself to you. And instead of going in with a judgmental attitude, if you soak in that information, if you ask her the right questions, and if you kind of treat it like a business deal, and you ask her the certain types of questions that no other man really likes to ask, such as her fantasy, such as what she does like, such as what she doesn't like, you will eventually get the truth out of that woman. And in today's video, I wanted to show you a Snapchat conversation I had with a female. And this female opened up to me about her true fantasies. And I'll show you how I played it out and how I led up to that conversation. But what I want you guys to realize is this is not just the exception to the rule. A lot of women have these certain fantasies, and they're afraid to tell men about it because they're afraid of judgment. You be so quick to judge a woman and miss out on that opportunity to fulfill her fantasy, all right? I'm not advocating for what I'm about to share with you guys. I'm just doing this video and showing you guys the receipts to show you to get more and more of that fantasy about the good girl out of your heads, all right? And before we dive into that, I want to read you some statistics that I pulled up. So this comes from the National Library of Medicine, and I'll link it in the description below if you don't believe where it's coming from. This just gives you the statistics to back up everything that I'm claiming. Not only am I sharing with you my personal experience dealing with women, but there's now statistics that can back it up. And, you know, just because these are statistics doesn't mean it's 100% true, because you could lie about these statistics. And I have a feeling this percentage that they give you is actually a lot higher, but we'll read it and I'll give you my analysis, my breakdown, then we'll go into my Snapchat. This study evaluated the EPAR, spell it backwards, fantasies of female undergraduates out of 355. Using a fantasy checklist that reflected the legal definition of EPAR, spell it backwards, and a fantasy log that included systematic prompts and self-ratings. Results indicated that 62% of women have had a EPAR, spell it backwards, fantasy, which is somewhat higher than previous estimates. For women who have had EPAR, spell it backwards, fantasies, the median frequency of those fantasies were about 4 times a year, with 14% of participants reporting that they had EPAR fantasies at least once a week. In contrast to previous research, which suggests that EPAR fantasies were either entirely averse or entirely EPAR fantasies were found to exist on an aversive continuum, with 9% completely averse, 45% completely averse, and 46% and averse, okay? Now, I have a feeling that this is a higher percentage, and maybe it's because of my location, maybe it's because of the type of social climate we're in now, with more and more social media and more women being liberated and not as much judgment. But I can tell you from experience, I think it's higher than 62%. And these are women that are telling, out of 355, that are being honest and sharing that they have these certain fantasies. In my experience, it's been every woman. You're just not the man that's gotten out of her. if she hasn't opened up to you yet about these certain fantasies, and she hasn't revealed her true nature to you, because she doesn't think you can handle it, and she thinks that it will break you down emotionally. And what are women based off of? Women are based off of feelings. All right. So if she tells you that she's into being dominated, if she tells you that she's into these E-par type of fantasies, and you're not that type of guy that can really do those things, then she's not going to tell you, because she doesn't want that negative feelings, that negative emotion of putting you down. All right. She doesn't want to put you down like that, because she still needs your resources. She still needs you to think that you're the best she's ever had, when you're not. She needs you to believe that. She will lie to you. She will lie to you. So I have my Snapchat open right now. Let's check out this conversation. I just want to read to you guys just a little tidbit of the conversation, because I think it's very informative, and it just reveals the true nature of the woman, and how women will open up to you if you're that certain type of guy. And I feel like a lot of guys don't want to talk about this, or maybe they still believe in the myth of that good girl out there. But hopefully this just destroys that myth of the good girl out there, and you realize that women are just going to be women now, and it's only going to get worse moving forward. All right, so here's a screenshot of the conversation that we had. She asked me, what's a fantasy of yours? Women love to ask what are certain fantasies before you see them, usually, just because they're mentally stimulated based on their heads, and they like to imagine and fantasize things before they come to fruition, more so than visually seeing things. Yes, they are visually stimulated as well, but I've realized over my experience with more and more women, and as I've gotten older, as I've taken more red pills, that women are extremely mentally stimulated. Okay, so this is why she's asking me. I say I'm into domination and submission and E-par fantasies. I threw out the E-par fantasies in there because I knew I just wanted to see how far down the rabbit hole I could get with this chick. All right, and I wanted to also prove to you guys on this channel that women are neither good nor bad, but there is no real good girl out there. Okay, they all have their own fantasies, but it's not a bad thing. It's just how women get down. A lot of times women have more fantasies that are darker than even men. So she says, you want to E-par me? And then she says, I'll let you. It may sound weird, but I actually fantasize about that too. That's just a slice of the conversation I'm going to share with you guys. I don't want to get too far deep into it, but I just wanted to put this video out there to show you that based on statistics, 62% of women have admitted to having these type of fantasies. And as you could tell from the conversation that I had on Snapchat, this is another type of woman that is into these fantasies. You just have to be that guy, all right? Now, if you do these things and you're not that guy, and you don't get her as turned on as another guy that she might fantasize in her head doing certain things with, this is where we run into issues such as the M2 movement. I can't say the word because of demonetization, or believe women, all these different things where women can accuse certain men. This just feeds into their hypergamy, because they want to be able to select certain men to mate with and certain men to do certain things with, while they want to move away and exile other categories of men, and men that they don't find as appealing. And what we're seeing is, as feminism continues to grow and expand and women get more and more rights, more and more men, which is why I made the 80-20 turn into 90-10 rule, more and more men will be excluded from that top tier man percentile, and they will not be having the same intimate, dark fantasy experiences that the top 10% of men will. And this is going to cause a lot of frustration with not only just women, but a lot of men. All right. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Get that fantasy out of your head that women are sugar and spice, everything nice, because, you know, they're not bad beings either. They're not good beings. They're just women, just like men are just men, and we all have our own desires. So it's good that I share this information. If you have any stories, any topics that you want me to discuss, let me know in the comment section below. And if you've had experience in this type of categories and these types of situations, let me know also in the comment section. We could share stories, and it's good for other guys to see this stuff. So it just kills that beta within you that wants to keep saving these women when they don't really want to be saved. They want to be dominated. All right. Love you all. Stay blessed. Have a good one. I'm out.